You know, we've all heard the concept, pay yourself first, but what does it mean? Money, don't pay your bills, put other people second, ego, be selfish, be spoiled. And in this section, we're gonna teach you and show you that if you really wanna help others, if you really care about your loved ones, then you've gotta take care of the most important person, yourself. Because no matter how much you put them in front and you take care of them and you're altruistic and you do sacrifice, if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of them.
Right. It's amazing notion that I'm just starting to realize. When I had children, the first thing that I thought that I need to spend more time with them. To take a vacation without my wife and without my children was crazy. So the first year, I think I had only 3 days vacation myself. I had a vacation also with my wife and my child.
Nice.
But that's it. I didn't have any time for myself. And I was working in a business in China. I was working, as I mentioned before, in the previous chapter, I was working like 300 hours every month. So I was very stressed out, but I didn't have the time to spend without my family and kids, without the business, and looking at the business and taking time for myself. I was coming back from work, so I was working like 14, 15 hours a day, and then I came back home and my wife was with the kid all the time. So of course she expected me to spend some time with the child. So I continued with the child and I fell asleep with the child and I didn't have time for myself. Now when I look at my current routine, well, I wake up every day at 4 a.m. I have at least 3 or 4 hours to myself. I can play the guitar, I can meditate, I can go on an exercise without the family, only for myself. It's a quality time for myself. Usually I'm very creative during this time, so I can get a lot of things going in my mind, already prepared for work. And then the family wakes up, and then I take the kids to school or the kindergarten, and I have the time for myself. And I always take breakout, and I go to Brazil, and I go to trips all by myself. I put some time also for education, for myself, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and on an annual basis. I always plan time for myself to sharpen the soul, to work on my mind, to make my mind sharper, and then I can be much more effective in my life, in my business. And guess what? It's not just very trustworthy or very impactful in my business. Also, my kids are much happier because they see that their father is happy, he's smiling much more. And my wife is happier because she can see that I enjoy myself. And she doesn't use criticism as much as in the past. Just because I'm much more calm inside, I can also have a lot of empathy for her and for my children. I can listen to them. I have much more freedom for myself. And the analogy that comes into my head, usually when I go on an airplane, I see the same thing again and again and again. I see the steward talking about the mask, that once it drops...
In case of emergency, the exit rows are at the back, to the left and the right.
Exactly. And then he talks about the masks. And then the first thing that I was curious about was, why should I take the mask first and not my child? Like, I want to protect my child first. But yet they explain in every flight that you need to take the mask first. And I think this metaphor signals what we should do in life. So I would prefer, first of all, to take the oxygen mask to myself, put the time, first of all, to myself. So whenever it is, if it's a 5-year plan, a yearly plan, a monthly plan, a weekly plan, I will always put some time for myself. And I was in a vacation now with my family. It was like 30 family members, and they all looked at me like, are you sure you're going to sleep? 9 p.m. We just started. The party already started. Why are you going to sleep? And I said, I'm sorry, but I like to wake up at 4 a.m. It's the best hours. So I'm going to sleep every day, 9 p.m. I go to sleep. I like 7 hours of sleep every night. And also my mind relaxes more when it knows that every night it's going to be the same hour that I'm going to fall asleep. So it's going to be 9 p.m. and I'm going to wake up at 9 a.m. That's much better for me. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to leave now. And I walked. And I can see them listening to me, and I can see the criticism. I can understand that. But I realize that for me, it's the best mechanism. And when I look at the 3 hours of exercises that I'm, like the ceremony that I'm doing every morning, and then when I come to breakfast at 8 a.m., I already had the guitar lesson, and I already have the meditation. I already had my exercise. That's very, very powerful for me. So I'm not gonna give up on my routine for someone else.
So when someone say that's selfish, you're putting yourself first, you're putting your meditation, your exercise, your guitar lesson, your sleep schedule before your wife, your kids, you're selfish. Have you ever heard that? Or
I heard that a lot. And what I normally use in order to convince or to explain myself, I would use the Phil Feld Found technique. So basically what I would say is, like, listen, I really get you. I understand what you're thinking. I understand where you're coming from, because I was exactly like that. Not long ago. Just a year ago, I was exactly thinking the same way as you. But then I went to Brazil, and I discovered that taking this break really means a lot for me. And I also started this daily routine. And I can see that these exercises and the guitar lesson really put a lot of energy. So this is the reason why I'm doing it. And guess what? What also happens is that my family is now happier, my wife is happier, my kids are happier, and all the thing that the kids ask me all the time now is, Daddy, when are we gonna go to the next vacation? Because they got used to the fact. And if you ask my son what his father is doing for a living, he would say, Daddy is playing bridge, playing Monopoly. That's what he thinks I'm doing for a living.
That's nice. And let's talk about the moms. I think the best, most incredibly challenging job in the world is raising children. And I know a lot of dads do it and help, but the moms really do a lot of it.
Right.
And I'll never forget when my son was just born, because of our lifestyle, my wife at the time could stay home full time and not have to work and take care of the child. And I thought, what an easy job. That's what everyone thinks, especially men. And I said, wow, she's a housewife. You know, she's waking up late, she's watching television, reading books, talking to her friends, watching the kid a little bit. Must be great. You know, her life must be vacation. And I'll never forget one day when my son was very young, she said, would you mind watching Alexander for 2 hours? I said, 2 hours? To be easy, you know? And I can't believe, she does this all day. I respect her, but what could be so challenging about it? Well, he's an infant, he's crawling, he's moving. Every second you have to watch him. He needed something, he's crying. And for a man, it was very, very stressful. I was never so stressed. And he's crawling towards, stick something in the electric socket. Then he's trying to eat this, and I had to feed him, and I had to change him. And I didn't have one free second. Oh. And after about 30 minutes, I'm going, how does she do this all day? It's impossible. I could barely do it for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. So the moms out there, and the families, everybody's stressed and we lose ourselves, right? The moms are so focused on taking care of the kids. The dads are so focused on working and doing what they need to do. And then and everyone gets stressed out because we put everybody else first and we lose ourselves.
Right.
And just for the moms out there, if we can help them get an extra hour a day or an hour and a half where they get to do what they want to do, a little reading, visiting with their friends, take a break, and they could be a little less stressed moms or happier moms.
Right.
And that's what you're saying is you might have to wake up a little earlier, go to sleep a little earlier, add another hour or two in just for yourself. So that just for yourself time is a vacation. And even the moms out there, they need a vacation just for themselves, right?
Right.
Not just the family, not just the mom and the dad and the kids going on a vacation, but those moms are working so hard and the dads are working so hard and they're not taking any time for themselves. And that's really what a vacation is, not just a 3-week cruise or a 2-week trip to the mountains or the beach, but that time just for yourself. So they need to schedule it. And one of the things that happens in so many working relationships, family relationships, couple relationships, parenting relationships, is people lose themselves. Men do it, and a lot of women do it because they put everyone ahead of themselves. A lot of women used to like to exercise, walk, yoga, visit with friends, go out and have a lunch, a dinner, a fun brunch with their friends, and all of a sudden they feel guilty. They say, I can't do that anymore. I gotta put my child first and my family first. They become more stressed. We all become more irritable. We become more tired. And all of a sudden, the thing we're trying to protect, our family, the relationships, we're cranky, we take our stress out on them, and the whole thing we were scared of, not putting them first, we actually become so tired and cranky and frustrated, we're now taking it out on them.
Right.
We've all done it.
Right.
That's why it's so important to let everybody take that break, take that personal vacation, take that time.
I'm looking at my children as the best teachers someone can have.
Absolutely.
And instead of teaching them how to think about others, I prefer to learn from them how to be focused on yourself. And my children, when they were born, all the time they think about themselves. They play, they have a lot of fun. When they get a snack, first of all, they think about themselves. They don't think about someone else. And all we try to do as parents, or we are also educated as parents, is to try to change that. And when I look at it, I say like, embrace it, try to balance it a little bit, but learn from them. Because when we're 30 or 40, all we do is think about them instead of thinking about us. Doesn't make sense. It's not a good deal, right? To have kids that all you do is think about them. It's not a good deal to have a wife and all you think is about her first and not about yourself. Think about yourself first. Now another notion that I think is very, very important is where is the balance between your family and your customers? Who is more important? Your boss? Your child? Your wife? Who is more important? And I know a lot of people that work 14 hours a day. They get back from work. They don't have time for the kids. They don't have time for the wife. So they feel like they're guilty again, right?
Right.
So what would you recommend them to do?
Have to prioritize. Decide who's really first.
Okay, that notion for me was very new because I used to work a lot. I used to prefer my customers on any other topic that I had in my mind, on my hobbies, on my wife, on my friends, and I didn't have time.
Right. And it's a vicious cycle because I love my family. I'm gonna go to work to take care of my family, but the means becomes the end. Now work is more important than my family.
Right.
And the whole reason you went to work
Right.
and work so hard and stress yourself is take care of your family, and now you're working so hard you can't take care of your family.
Right, exactly.
It makes no sense.
Right, right. So what I started working upon is a model of circles where I'm in the circle, and then the next circle is my wife and my 2 kids, and then the third circle is my good buddies, my family, other family members that I really like. And I make this distinction on purpose because I have a lot of family members. Some I like more, some I like less. And I prefer I can spend the time with the family members that I like more. And with the friends I like more. And with the customers I like more, again more. And then the fourth circle is the same as the third, but with someone that I like less. And here's a distinction I really like. It's the mall distinction. So if there's a guy, maybe he's a family member, maybe he's a friend, maybe he's a customer. If I would go through the mall and I would see him, and the first instinct that I have is that I want to turn 180 degrees and go back, then he's not in the third circle. He's probably in the fourth or the fifth circle. But if I feel excited and I really want to meet him, then he should be in the third circle.
Right. And I think one of the things people need to understand is that first circle is you, whether it's the woman, the man, whatever. Most people lose themselves very quickly in any relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, spouse, work. They say, well, I used to like to watch movies or read or write or create or paint or do yoga or meditate or play music, whatever they love to do. And that's why the person was attracted to them, because they were so interesting and they did cool things. And that's why you felt good. It made you feel good. That's your circle. And then all of a sudden, you don't put yourself in that circle. You let everyone else, work, family, kids, come in, and all of a sudden, there's no you left, right?
Right.
And that's why everyone loves you and you loved yourself, and don't lose yourself in that circle.
Right.
And I think if people get that concept of the circles and who do you let in, and the most important circle is the first one. So many people lose themselves.
Right. And I want to share with our viewers some fun exercise that we can use for this chapter. So the first fun exercise that I would suggest to do, I did it myself, is who will be in each and every circle. Just think about the people in your life, think about your customers, think about your friends, think about your family members, and just try to put them in circles. Who do you want to devote your time to? Who is more important? And then it's much easier to decide on your activity. And later on in next chapters, we will talk about your weekly plan and monthly plan. You can already make a decision who you're going to spend the next vacation with, because you don't want to spend the time with someone that is less important to you. You want to spend the next vacation with someone that you really feel that energize you. So this is the first fun exercise that I would want to talk about.
That'd be great. And I also recommend a plus and minus system. Everyone in life, you know what you feel, either gives you energy or takes your energy. There's some people that you're around, I like being around you give me energy, you get great ideas, it's fun, correct?
Right.
And you feel better. And there's some people in life, you're around them for a little while, they're good people, we're not judging them, but they take your energy, and afterwards like, whew, that was challenging, it was hard.
Right.
And we understand there's certain people that you have to be around, but by those people, put a plus or a minus.
Right.
Do they make you feel better when you're around them or worse?
Right.
And if they have a minus, maybe you want to move into an outer circle.
Wow.
Or maybe subtract them altogether.
Right.
Because all we have in life is our time and our energy. Who would you want to go on vacation with? Someone that takes your energy, that makes you feel drained and tired, or someone that makes you feel great and positive? So pick 2 or 3 people in your life that get a minus, and maybe there's a way to put them in a further circle, or in some cases, get them out of all the circles so your life, your energy, your vacation mentality goes up.
And I want to add another fun exercise, something that will provide a lot of benefit for the next chapters. So think about a situation where 80% of the current time that you have is now you don't need to work anymore, and you don't need to spend the time with your children and wife, and you have 80% of your time free. What would you do in this time? What are your priorities, and what kind of activities would you like to do if you had all this time in your life? Where will you go for vacation? What kind of hobbies will you have? What kind of sports will you do if you have 80% of your time vacant? Now I know what your mind starts to telling you is, come on, I will not have 80% of the time. It's crazy. Impossible, I can't do it. But I can say that this exercise is mind-blowing, because you're gonna have already the priorities of things that you can do with your spare time, and you already start thinking about, okay, now I have a very good motivation to make my business much more successful, to make more money, so I have time to relax and to do what I really like to do. And now I know of a lot of people, buddies of mine, that they know that they're soon gonna retire, they have no idea what their hobbies are, and there's a vacuum.
And most of them, unfortunately, because my parents went through this, they saved their money, they retired, and all my dad's friends who didn't have any interests or hobbies, they all became very ill very quickly, and unfortunately, most of them passed away. Those that had interest and passions and hobbies and things to keep them busy are still going, they're in good shape, they're in good health.
Right. Right, and life expectancy is going up all the time, and the workforce is being released in a lower age. And many people here in Israel, I know that they need to find something else to do when they're 40, 50 years old, and it's a crisis. But if you're prepared and you're already working in a 100 vacation days a year system, then you're relaxed.
Right.
Actually, this is what you like to do the most. So you're prepared for that. So it's already a life of retirement while you work.
And I like to give a little bonus while people are going to be doing this fun exercise, and that is this. My sages in research have taught me that the reason we get paid to work, think about it, is not really why we think it is. The reason we get paid to work is we're getting paid for our time because we're not doing what we really should be doing, which is what we love to do, what's fun to do, spending time with family, studying, reading, learning, spiritual, religious pursuits, whatever it could be. So we get compensated for our time because we're not doing what we should or love to do. And this exercise, fun exercise, when they do it, what would I do if I had the free time, is so important. And to really put it bluntly, and I hope you don't mind, there's a great book, and it's okay in our book and our teachings to recommend other books, called 11 Minutes. And it's about a prostitute. And it's based on a true story. And you know, when I say the word prostitute, people think it's horrible. And it is. But she says she did it to make the money. Then she went to Europe. She was from South America and worked to become a prostitute. And it was about 11 minutes that she had to do things she didn't want to do, was forced to do, that were most people think is wrong. But she said that anybody who's trading their time for money for something they don't love, that they wouldn't do, they're also prostitutes. So,
Wow.
and that really made me think that we have it upside down. All of us work, and most of us say, well, I work because I have to, I work because I have to support the family. You know, when I was 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 or 8 or 10, and the teacher said, what do you want to do when you grow up? Very few people would have said, I want to sit in a cubicle, working at a computer, marking up documents, selling something for somebody else, doing a job at a company, or even some of the people building businesses, you know, they wouldn't want to do that. And if you're doing something you don't want to do, you're trading your time for money for something that you don't love. And we're in one form or another, no comparison, prostituting ourselves.
Wow.
And that's why it's so important to decide, I want free time, I want to do what I want to do. But if you don't know what you want to do, don't know what you love to do, then you can't do it. So that's why this exercise is so valuable.
Thank you. Great distinction.
Let's take a break.
Yeah, let's take another break.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
What do you think? Easy as pie, huh?